You've been talking about design transformations, and I saw you've been showing very funny old things, and I remember them. I'm that old. So I think there has been, over the centuries, I think I can say, a very large difference in design. Is it only about the looks, or what has changed in design when you look back some centuries?
I think what has changed in design is that we're now concerned with designing the dynamics and the behaviour of products and services. So not only the look and feel, but the functionality and the dynamics of that functionality. And that's a big change.
What was the approach of people who designed technology? Was it more things should just work, or was it more we don't think about the people who are going to use this anyway? Or
I think that there has been a change over time, and that now we are more aware that we have to design for aesthetics, so people need to see things and use things that are attractive to them. But we do also have to design for usability and function, so they have to make sense in user terms. If the technology is too complex and people can't use it, then it's a failure.
You have been showing this funny old robot with the dog, but as well, I don't remember. Was it a calculator? Or was it a?
It was a remote control device.
Remote control
yes,
device.
That's right.
But when I think of, for example, the calculator, we had the first calculators at school when I was in school.
Yeah, same for me.
In the
yes.
70s, they were
80s.
Kind of edgy. They were kind of edgy. They didn't do much, but calculate and things. What changed then? Was it? When you look at the 50s, there was a design. Of course, there was a design because now we recognize that. I mean, optical design. How it looks. Now we recognize things. Oh, that's from the 50s. That's from the 60s. That's from the 70s. So.
Well, now there's two types of design perhaps that we can distinguish. There is still design, but I was talking in terms of the design of dynamic behaviour, design of information architectures, all of those different things. The difference is that products are networked in ways that they never were in the times that you were mentioning. But on top of that, we still appreciate product design and the aesthetic pleasure of the artifact. So next to you on this table, for example, and in front of me, there is a Mac. And those products are highly successful because of their aesthetic quality. So functionally, they're very good. This one is quite lightweight, for example, but also they're beautiful products. And that's why this is selling, the iPhone sells, the iPod sells. It's a network device, but it has a high aesthetic value.
When we look at, when we look back, what technology had to do, what kind of functions were necessary, and when we look at technology nowadays, people ask for much more things, like the iPhone or I don't know, any phone, any mobile phone you have. It now has a camera. It has, I don't know what kind of things. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can communicate with people in different ways. What does this mean for designers of technology? I mean, is this solvable nowadays?
Some aspects, I think, are very solvable. Many things are still too complex, but basically the mobile phone has evolved in this way with added functionality. What is very useful to us is that we don't have to carry around with us 10 separate things. So actually the packaging into one product, as long as it is still easy to use and understandable at least, is very desirable because it takes literally the weight off our shoulders. So this trend, I'm sure, will continue because it's very useful for us to have lightweight, portable devices. And in terms of communication, we want to communicate with our colleagues, with our families, with our friends, and that makes us feel more comfortable and more secure. And in the past, when telephones were only available on location in a home or in a workplace, we could argue that that was quite inconvenient. So now we have a little bit more convenience as we move about. We have these different functionalities. So if you see something beautiful because you're in Florence, you can take a picture, even if what you have with you is what we call a phone.
But what I meant is one device should be able to do much more things nowadays. A phone, I don't know, 20 years ago, only needed to
Do
be
one
able
thing,
to connect
yes.
me to someone I could talk to or listen to. And when things are getting more and more complex, isn't it more and more difficult to design them? I mean, not the looks,
Oh, I see.
especially.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, the looks, but the way how to do all the technology inside and how to use the menu and so on.
Yes, they are more complex, but I think human beings are fascinated by complex objects. Complexity in itself is, for me, not the issue. Understandability is the issue. There are many things like cars, which we learn to drive, that are complex, but we understand through a process how to drive them, and in fact how to drive them safely. So complexity for me is not the issue, understandability is the issue. And I think as people, we like things that are complex as long as the aesthetics and the understandability are included.
You have been talking about design transformations. What does this mean for you?
What it means for me is that as designers we can design tools to give to other people that will allow them to design things for themselves. So instead of in the past, in the examples that you gave, that we design product and then we sell that product and that's all it can do, that it's more and more possible that we can design tools that are more adaptive, that are better designed so that people can use them to make their own things. So design transformation means that we help people or give people the ability to become designers to some extent if they want to themselves. So this is also, I think, a trend because you can see with the same mobile phone, you can take photos, you can make movies, and you can upload them onto websites to share with others. So the same mobile phone is also such a tool that enables me to be creative.
So that means giving people tools to become designers doesn't mean that they design these tools.
No, that's right. But they can design some of the things that are appropriate for their context and their lives. So we will still need, of course, the professional end of design, in fact, very highly qualified people to be able to make these complex tools. So both ends of the spectrum I'm proposing will develop. So the end user part of it, where people are enabled to do their own things more and more. And at the other end, the design of complex devices will also increase because we need to make that complexity understandable for more people.
Is this because you have a pen or a pencil? I think it is here. Before this highly sophisticated technology, people had pencils and brushes and hammers and saws and things like that, and they could be very creative. Was there a trend in between where people just got things they could use for one purpose or for 10 purposes? Is this sort of more sophisticated, going back to just having a pencil?
Yes, there is nothing in computing, for me, that is as subtle and as beautiful as pen and ink on paper. And that's why, in fact, I'm sitting here with a laptop, but I will always have with me also pen and paper to be able to draw. And here we are in Florence, where we can see the most beautiful drawings, perhaps, in the world that were done in pen and paper, and they are not improved with the use of technology. They can only be improved by the imagination, you could say. So the technology of pencil and paper is still highly relevant to the world that we live in and will not be replaced.